I've never joined a guild that requires you to be involved in Battlenet, because there's sometimes I just want to get away from. We've been in guilds when there's guild drama. I want to get away from that. I don't want everyone to know where I'm at.
Yeah, but if we're going to get into your antisocial tendencies, this is going to be a really long show. I'm just saying.
We've all had, you and I, it's happened both in the past. You and I we've been, even in other games, you and I have been playing. We've talked about it on the phone.
Why are you involving me in this like that? I'm antisocial like you, because I'm really not. I'm a people person.
Yeah.
You're listening to the Goblin Goldcast with Dex and Mac. I got mouths to feed, so let's get this thing started. Time is money, friend.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, Azeroth. You're listening to the Goblin Goldcast, your guide to making gold in World of Warcraft. This is episode 31. I'm your host, Dex, coming to you from Napa, California. With me on Skype is the man who recently learned the hard way that RSVPing back to a wedding invite with the words, "maybe next time," is a bad idea, my co-host Mac from Anchorage, Alaska. How you doing, Mac?
I'm doing pretty good. I could have done that on your first wedding. But,
You could have. But you actually showed up, and I actually blame you for a large part of that.
I didn't introduce you. I was there when you met her. But
This is true, but you didn't stop me. Anyway.
No. You didn't stop me my first time either.
On an interesting note, I'm always pointing out that my wife doesn't listen to the podcast, but my ex-wife actually does. And,
yeah.
All right. So
I thought after the settlement, when she got half of nothing, she was out living on the streets.
Yeah. Go spend that. Don't spend it all in one place, right? So, this week we'll be looking into a hodgepodge of unrelated things that we will no doubt haphazardly discuss in a very disconnected way. But first, how was your week, Mac?
Yeah, my week was pretty good. Outside of game, we'll find out tomorrow when I go back to work whether I have a job.
You might have a lot more time to play.
I might. Yeah, they did some restructuring and laid off some people. I was a little more nervous until I saw I got a little more seniority than I thought I did. But anyways, other than that, no, great week. Been out doing that questing for the holiday event, trying to get that love rocket, just so I could show it off in front of you.
You're not going to get it.
I thought I got it the other day. I got it, I opened the box, and it said love rocket, and it was like, why are there 5 of them? Then I realized it's the fireworks in there, so I was kind of bummed out about that.
I would think that when you saw 5 of them, that would convince you that it was definitely yours that you opened up, since you seem to get things in sets of 5 and 6, It would seem to be on par for that.
You're not still jealous, are you?
No. Yeah, a little bit. So.
And the other thing I discovered in game this week, I was out doing that little farm in Half Hill. I still do that daily on a few of my tunes. I looked over and they had that Earth Smasher Master Plow was in the garden and on one of my characters, and I was like, I deleted it when that thing stopped working.
Right.
And I was like, let me test this out. And so I grabbed it, and boom, it worked. It's like, holy crap.
I never got to use it. It was broken before I ever started doing the farm.
So last week when you said things, they weren't going to fix things in the...
Okay, now wait a minute.
The old expansion.
I was talking about the stubborn weed. Now tell me, is the stubborn weed still bugged? Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's
right?
still screwed up.
Yeah. So they didn't fix the bug. Here's what happened. The plow was an item that got borked somehow because of something they had in a patch. There was nothing in the new patch that said that they fixed that or that they fixed some older content.
They took it away from the merchant, and it's now back on the merchant. That's
No, I think it accidentally got fixed. I don't think that was intentional. I think what happens is they'll put in a little bit of code to enhance something from the current game, and it just as a byproduct fixed it.
I specifically remember it being removed from the merchant, and I went back today, and it is back on the merchant. So this was something that was fixed.
Right. Well, they took it off the merchant because people were complaining because they were buying it and it wasn't working, right?
Right. Well, now it's working, so they fixed it.
So they accidentally fixed it, and then when they accidentally fixed it, they went, oh, what a huge mistake we made. We fixed it by a complete accident, but let's put it back on the vendor.
That's your story. So we have hope that the stubborn weed gets fixed now.
No, we don't. How much you want to bet? How much you want to bet that it's not fixed before 8.0?
Before 8.0.
I'm talking next expansion. How much you want to bet that this entire expansion, it never gets fixed?
We'll see.
Let's put some gold on it.
You know me, I don't gamble.
It's not real money.
I'll go some gold. Okay. You get a lot more gold than I do.
There you go. Easy pickings, right?
You'd find some way to get a hold of them. And no.
What else did you do this week?
That was about it. I kept working on that Good Samaritan quest line. I can't even say
I'm going to totally leave that just like it is. I don't care if you fix it. Go ahead.
Anyways, yeah, so I've got one more storyline in there, and I think I'm going to have that quest line done for that achievement.
Yeah.
So I can get the flying pretty quick, yay.
Yay.
Yeah.
That's when you want to bring the alts up, is after you get the flying.
Oh, yeah. Well, unfortunately, I'm...
Well, I'm holding back.
I wouldn't have all these legend... Yeah, and I have a lot of alts to throw at legendaries, so...
That's true. I just, I'm really holding back on that because I know how fast it goes once you have flying, and I would rather advance one character, while it's prudent to do that, and then when it becomes more alt-friendly with flying, take advantage then. Just really kind of... I try to schedule things so that I'm the most time efficient with it, like that. So
yeah.
We'll see how it works out.
I actually spent a little more time gold making this week, but we'll go into that here in a little bit.
Cool.
How was your week?
Well, I did make a little bit of gold. I got a few new mounts. Got a couple of the Blizzard store mounts. Added those to my collection. I got one that comes with a little toy that you create a hitching post with, so all of your group mates can have that same mount as you've got. It's that, what's the name of it? It's that red flaming flying horse that looks so much better than the Headless Horseman mount. I'm trying to think of what it's called. Having a hard time remembering what it's called right now, but I'm
still jealous.
It's funny that we had some price increases in the Blizzard store before the tokens were usable as BlizzBucks.
I wonder how that or why that happened.
I mean, unless I'm just completely losing my mind on this, so I'm sure somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, but the way I remember it, those mounts that were sold in the store were $20 and $25, depending on which ones you were looking at, and then they were $25 and $30 when I looked, after the change was made. So either I'm misremembering it, or that's fancy talk, misremembering.
I'll chalk it up to your old age, the Alzheimer's setting in.
Yeah, I don't know. I might not remember it correctly, but I pretty distinctly remember that that's how it was. But they took a long time getting that in place for what seems to me something that they didn't make any other changes on. So I'm wondering what the holdup was, unless it was just that, like what I think. But I did notice one interesting thing. If you wanted to get the Warlords of Draenor Collector's Edition upgrade, that was $20. Now that comes with a mount and a pet. Comes with a cool raven mount and a little raven pet, and a bunch of other things for other games, and that's $20. Whereas the other mounts are like $25, $30, and you're just getting the mount. So I think that was an oversight on their part. I think they probably intended to raise the price on that, and they didn't.
So what you're saying is take advantage of that before they raise the price.
Yeah. So I have saved $50 of my Blizzard bucks to use for realm transfers. That'll give me 2 realm transfers.
Oh, there you
go. And I'm formulating a strategy right now for how to make gold with that. I've got a bit of an idea on how I'm going to do that, and I go into that later on in the podcast. But yeah,
devious mind is always working.
Well, yeah, I may have found a way around a problem with using realm transfers to make gold. If you're on a high pop server, I think I've put together kind of a strategy that might work on that. But
cool.
Last week we had a great interview with the Lazy Gold Maker, and want to give him a shout out and a thanks again for kicking us off on that. And I am putting together a list of other content creators that I am sending out emails to, and we're going to see who we have as takers that want to subject themselves to what he subjected himself to. We've actually already got one that's coming up down the road here that we've already planned, but we're going to get a few others going, and eventually we might be doing about like every other podcast, kind of doing an interview with the community, which is nice because as Mac and I were just discussing earlier today, it's good to get another perspective in there. We do the interview, but through the course of the interview, we pick up things that, gold making tips and things that we're actually not, putting to use. In some cases, it's things that we're already aware of, but we maybe misjudged the scope of how it can be used or something like that. And in fact, there was one that the Lazy Goldmaker brought up. It was kind of an inscription thing that you took advantage of.
Oh yeah, he was talking about inscription, and I had reading and talking to other people, I had heard that inscription wasn't going to be that good a gold maker here during this expansion. And after last week, it's like, let's test it out. And just in the last couple of days, I've made about 20K just doing inscription, and that's just some Legion stuff. The Tome of the Tranquil Mind.
Yeah,
sold a ton of those.
Why don't you? I know he went into it a little bit in last week's podcast, but just to refresh us on that a little bit, what was the procedure on that for turning the gold?
Well, he was talking about doing some of the older inscriptions that he was making gold on, some of the drainer stuff, I believe. But I actually was using the Tome of the Tranquil Mind, and I put it out there. There's the Codex of the Tranquil Mind is the other one. That's the one that's for groups of people. That one, a little more expensive in the auction house, isn't selling quite as fast. I think from what I'm seeing, I'm going to make a lot more gold selling the single-person one.
That makes sense.
Now, as opposed to when 7.2 comes out, there was they put out some information that when you're in LFR, I guess currently when you're doing the LFR, when you go into the dungeon, you can't just automatically swap your spec if you want to.
Right.
But they said that the developer said that they were going to add that in 7.2. There will be a buff at the very beginning, so you can swap specs at the beginning if you want.
Yeah, I think Lazy was actually talking about some Legion stuff like that. I think that was one of the things that he did talk about.
Right.
So how much gold have you made since the interview on that?
I just started the last 2 days. Like I said, about 20K in the last 2 days. I wasn't messing around with my inscriptionist before that. It was like, let me give it a test.
Right.
And if it keeps going the way it is, 10K a night I'm just throwing herbs at my inscription.
You almost said throwing weed at him.
Yeah, throwing weeds at him. Yeah. I've got a couple of my lower level tunes that I'm bringing up to 110, and they're just gathering professions. I don't have any crafting on them, and so I just throw those mats out at my higher level guys that have the different crafts, my blacksmith and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's been useful.
So about 20K in 2 days.
In 2 days, I just started doing it. I just wanted to test it out. Now that I know how much I can make off of it, I will be I'll be setting up a little sweatshop and seeing if I can do a lot more.
So how much? What was the commission that you set up with Lazy on that? What's he expecting to? What's going to be his piece?
I don't think there was a
There wasn't an agreement prior.
There wasn't a prior agreement. So he may send a kneecap breaker out to come try to collect his fee here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, by virtue of the podcast, maybe he owes us now because we interviewed him and he probably got like 2 extra people that now go to his site after hearing about it. Well, we generate that kind of traffic, so. Oh boy, so that's awesome. I've been looking into actually making skinning pay off a little bit more for me, but I might go into a little bit more into inscription. Skinning's a good way to make gold right now. I know.
Well, so. And I do also want to thank the folks over in Europe. Last night we were playing yesterday, and I was trying to walk one of our guildmates through a thing we'll talk about later, and the Battlenet went down. Mm-hmm. And I was trying to get back on Battlenet launcher. Blizzard CS on Twitter put out, they were having issues with their Battlenet launcher, and I just could not get into the game. It was like, all right, I'm going to go play something else for the night. We were all on Skype, and I was like, let me try it one more time. And as I brought it up, I noticed that it said America's at the top of the launcher, and then I had the option of Europe, China. It was like, well, let me check and see if a European server. So I went over to Europe, logged in, and let me log in, and so I played last night using the European login for Battlenet. If the server's down in your country, try one of the other countries.
Oh boy!
I'll get the long distance bill next week. No,
yeah. Oh boy, yeah. So one of the things that I've been looking at lately is using the server transfers for gold, to make gold from the transfers. And I bought my tokens. I think I paid $31K. Paid a little more for a few of the others, but not much. And I know
$31K.
I'm sorry.
$31K.
Yeah, $31K. That's what I said.
You said 31 gold.
No, I said 31K.
You said 31 gold. You're doing it again.
You get the feeling that I'm setting you up. So,
I do. Yeah. People are listening and going, 31 gold? When were they that cheap?
So anyway, I one of the problems with the idea of doing that is, if you're on a high population realm and you're trying to move items to another realm to make gold, it becomes a little bit more difficult sometimes, to really make the gold. If you're not gonna really want to move to a low pop server to try to make the gold because, less people looking to buy the items, and it might not prove to be very profitable for you. And so I've been looking at that and kicking around a few ideas, and then it occurred to me that, it's already easy to get gold on any realm that you want. All you have to do to get gold on another realm is to use battle pets. Kind of a no-brainer for how you can do that. So to me, the way to do it, if you're on a high pop realm, is use some battle pets. You transfer the gold with battle pets, the usual way, to a low pop realm. And on the low pop realm, battle pets are one of the few things that tend to command a higher price because you don't see as many of them. And so you move some gold over there, and then you buy the items that you want to buy, and you do your transfer, and you come back to your server. So your transfer is a character that you make on the other realm. You can make a Death Knight or what have you, because you can't move a level 1. I'm not sure what the minimum level is, Might only be 10 or 20, but at any rate, pretty easy to meet the requirement as far as that goes. And make your purchases, and then make sure that you have a character slot open on your home realm. And
you're supposed to leave slots open? I didn't know that.
Well, now, except for on Dalaran and a few of the other realms out there, you've got little buddy realms that are all connected to you.
Oh, there is that
you
too,
can
yeah.
utilize and achieve the same thing. So when I say come to your realm or any connected realm to your realm.
Right. There you go.
So coming that direction, and then as a nice bonus, you have the gold on the realm that you want to have it on anyway, most likely. So that seems to be kind of a win-win. I'm going to put that into play here and see if it works out for me, but I will keep everybody updated. The biggest difficulty, I think, is going to be getting enough gold transferred to the new realm, because even using the really high-ticket pets to move things over, it'll take a lot of them to approach the 3 or 4 million that I think you would want to do to make it worth it. You know what I mean? It's I'm thinking at least 3 million to make it worth it, given what the price of tokens are now. Right. Because you have to kind of think about, the profit margin, there. I would want to make at least a comfortable 300K at least before I would want to do it, because you're going to be paying a lot of that in token fees. So I would actually want a lot more than that. I want to see if I can make at least $500,000, $750,000 profit, and you're not going to make that much profit moving $1 million gold. It's not likely. So I mean, if you do, make sure you point out to me which realm that was and what items you used, because I would very much like to take advantage of that, and I'll make sure that Mac passes off any commissions that are due.
Yeah. So. We'll send out the knee breakers again.
Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of what I've been working on there. But the main thing that we wanted to talk about this week, I understand that when it comes to privacy issues, Blizzard really kind of screwed the pooch this week.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, after the patch the other day, and I just happened to notice that I was going through the forums, and someone was talking about they have a new thing, the suggest a friend. So the game will, if the game will suggest, if you have somebody on your friends list, will suggest you to other friends in the game.
Right.
It was using your real ID, real name, and I was like, no, that can't be it.
They did that before. They did that before when it first came out.
Right, and I went in and looked, and they had clicked, by default, you're opted in.
Right.
So your real name is showing on, it's not your battle tag.
Right.
Your real name is showing out there instead of your battle tag. If I wanted my real name out there, I would use my real name on my character.
Yeah, and they're not asking you to they're not asking you to check the box if you want it, right? I mean, it's
by default, you're opted in. You've got to opt out of it.
That's crazy. But I will say this. I personally think that all iTunes users should be subscribed to us by default, and they have to opt out if they don't want us.
That works.
But, there was this big uproar about this before when they were first coming out with the Real ID. And I remember the arguments, oh my God, the arguments in the forums where they were trying to say, no, this is a good thing. This is not a bad thing. This will just keep everybody honest in the forums, and you won't have as many trolls and all of this. And it wasn't until people started pointing out things like, this is a safety issue.
Right.
You're giving somebody's personal name out, their information out there, and all it takes is one nut job to go out there and say, hey, I'm going to track this person down, and then all of a sudden Blizzard Entertainment is no longer Blizzard Entertainment. Somebody else owns them,
Right.
That was a huge mistake that they made. And I'm not sure, was it done by, did they try to slip it in, or was it done by accident? Do you know?
It appeared in the last patch. That was when I got disconnected from Battlenet this last time, as I was trying to talk a guildmate through how to disconnect or how to shut off this thing. You've got to at your login when you're logged into Battlenet,
right.
You go to your account management, then you go to settings. Hit communication preferences, and right in the privacy box, you have to unclick the enable real ID and unclick the suggest me to friends. I would have never put that on there. First of all, in Battlenet, I have about 6 people in Battlenet. I've never joined a guild that requires you to be involved in Battlenet, because there's sometimes I just want to get away from. We've been in guilds that there's guild drama. I want to get away from that. I don't want everyone to know where I'm at.
Yeah, but if we're going to get into your antisocial tendencies, this is going to be a really long show. I'm just saying.
We've all had, you and I. It's happened both in the past. You and I we've been, even in other games. You and I have been playing. We've talked about it on the phone.
Why are you involving me in this like that? I'm antisocial like you, because I'm really not. I'm a people person.
Yeah. So you get a plan set in your head. This is what I'm going to do tonight. You log in the game to go do that, and all of a sudden you've got 30 people asking you to do something else. So occasionally I'll go and play on a different tune that isn't known by everyone else.
Right.
So in my Battlenet, I've got one other podcast, or actually one podcaster, one content creator who have my Battlenet ID. There's you,
right,
Mrs. Mac. And one of our listeners who was moving over to Dalaran, who I actually helped out a little bit.
Right.
I gave him so there's like 6 people that have my Battlenet. And I don't want the game, as it was suggesting to friends, and using their real names when it was suggesting to friends. I don't need, unfortunately, like I said, I don't have a big list of people.
Yeah.
But I didn't need everybody knowing my real name.
Well, it's kind of well known that there are a lot of very famous people that play World of Warcraft, and I'm quite certain that these people, most of them, don't share who they really are to their guild mates and people in large rating guilds that are, movie actors and so forth, and just politicians, well-known people that really don't want to have to deal with that. And it's not just somebody stalking you. It would, the other problem with that is, if you are one of those people that's a well-known person, all of a sudden, people are going to treat you differently in game, and your game is your escape. And as soon as your game stops being your escape, it's like, I heard somebody the other day, and this was, I think I heard somebody on the radio talking about this. One of the things that, people are starting to kind of turn off on Hollywood right now a little bit because of movies and music and things like that, where everybody in the world wants to talk about their little cause of the day and all of that and what they're behind. And, the truth of the matter is people use their entertainment, playing the game or going to movies or listening to music as their escape, and you kind of take their escape away. Well, if you're the type of person whose life is, you're a famous person, you're somebody that everybody knows, whatever, and you're able to just be an ordinary Joe, with everybody else in your guild, and they take that away, and that kind of sucks,
Right.
But from a safety standpoint, especially for women, I think it's ridiculous. And that was actually pointed out when they were first trying to do that for the forums. There were many people that were saying, well, that's the end of me posting on the forums. If I can only post by giving out all my personal information, I won't be doing it. And it took a long time for them to realize that it was a bad idea. They fought really hard saying, no, this is just going to keep the trolling down on the forums. And to me, it was like, okay, we've got this great cure. If you can imagine, your doctor telling you, hey, I've got a great cure for the common cold. The only problem is it causes cancer. Because that's basically what they were doing. They were getting rid of trolling by putting people in physical danger by giving their personal information out.
I think it creates a liability for the company.
It created a huge liability. And it's amazing to me that they didn't see that. I think sometimes companies can get so, emotionally invested and attached to an idea. Hey, this will be great. Everybody will love this. And they're completely blinded by the negatives. I mean, every company needs somebody like me. And let me explain that. Every company needs a guy like me that's going to say, all right, give me your great idea so I can rip it to shreds and tell you how horrible it is. Just somebody that's going to be a total jerk.
I think I remember you doing that with a VP one time that you didn't realize was the VP of the company.
Well, screenshotter didn't happen. Yeah, I always know who you're talking to. Yeah, and never start with the words, whoever was the moron that came up with this idea.
What do you mean, pink slip? Yeah. All right. I mean, people know that I don't have a great sense of humor. If I'm smarting off in trade chat, and I do occasionally, I don't troll people, but every once in a while somebody will say something or type something in trade chat, and I'll respond back with a funny quip, and every once in a while I offend somebody, and right. I would just hate to have somebody have my real name and then, like I said, start trolling me on Facebook or whatever on social media.
Right. No, I know, and it's. I mean, there are people that obviously know who we are, and if you look closely enough at the podcast, you can see what our real names are that we don't use. But it's who are we? I mean, we're what I'm talking about people that normally have to have security, or I'm talking about for the ladies out there. I mean,
or even for kids. I mean, my grandkid had an account there for a long time.
Oh yeah. And that's I wasn't even really thinking about that. I'm still thinking along the lines of that you have to have an adult's name, but I guess you could have a kid's name, and that would be bad. Yeah, just from a safety standpoint alone, you don't have to go any further than that to say this is a bad idea. And I do think, I said it already, but I'll say it again. I do think that companies get invested in an idea and they don't see any of the negative parts to it. They completely overlook where it could cause them a problem. And, it seems to me like they've got to have at least one lawyer that was going to tell them, this is a really bad idea.
Maybe that was the last place they went was their legal department. And they were like, no,
yeah.
No, don't.
Yeah.
It's like you got that guy behind him going, no.
Yeah. Let me tell you about a great idea that we had. And they tell the lawyer, and the lawyer's like, oh, I'm so glad you told me. Make sure you don't do that. And they say, well, we've been doing it for like 3 weeks already.
Oh, that seems to happen at my work a lot.
Yeah.
Someone in middle management decides to do something that they think's a good idea, and someone from HR, after a complaint's made, goes, "You can't do that."
Now, I haven't been able to find, not that I've been looking everywhere for it or anything, but I haven't been able to find where Blizzard has responded to where this is now. Are they going to fix it?
I haven't seen one blue post. So
you know what that means? That means they're freaking out and they're scrambling. Nobody that works for the company wants to come forward and make a comment yet, because they want to figure it out. But I mean, obviously they're going to say it was inadvertent. I'm not so sure I believe that. Whether it was done on purpose or not, they're going to say, "Oh, accident." That just makes sense. That's what companies do. But
no way.
But I think that I think somebody was a little overzealous. I think that's what it's going to come down to. But anyway, enough on the identity issues there.
Sorry, it wasn't a gold making thing, but it was a current item that had happened. So
we got a quite a few actually new mounts that are entering the game, which is always of interest to me, and a lot of gold makers have a fondness for mounts. I know it's not really your thing so much, but
these ones you don't have to spend gold on. You've got they've got that new Archaeology Mount. They've got that Ghost Moose mount that's available. From what I've been told, it's from High Mountain. There's I'm going to go test.
Is that available on the other realms? Is it available EU and the other realms, or is it North American only?
No, it's that they said it's live. I'm pretty sure it's available all over.
Because I thought that was going to be for Canadians only, or something like that. No,
there's Alaskans too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Oh.
Yep. So tell me about the this Archaeology Mount. I only have one tune that has archaeology, and he is. He's still rocking level 100 right now. So
you need to get him up, at least start him in High Mountain.
Yeah, have to bring him up through there, and of course he's on a PvP server. So
you'll have fun.
That'll be fun doing archaeology on it. Yeah. Anyway,
look, he's got his shovel out. He's doing surveying. Gank.
Yeah. Oh, that's lots of fun.
You'll have to tell me how that works for you, because I
have to see how long it takes me to do that quest, right?
I'm going to test it out.
So what do? You just work regular dig sites? Is that how that works?
It came up. Apparently, there's 3 dig sites that pop up in High Mountain, and I guess you do them and you get the mount eventually. I haven't done it myself. It just came up, and I was going to test it out, but I have not yet.
Okay.
But I thought I would mention it because I know you're a big mount collector, and I figured you would want to test it out with me.
So basically, we're completely worthless on this. We have no useful information whatsoever on
it. We will have useful information next week. We'll talk about how many times Dex got killed.
You'll have the mount. Yeah. You'll have the mount. I will have started the quest.
He'll have been killed multiple times.
Actually, you'll probably have 5 of them, even though you can only use one. And speaking of mounts, there is another mount that we're going to endeavor to get together.
Yeah, through let's see, through. I wrote it down. No, I didn't.
No, you didn't.
Son of a biscuit. Oh, there it is. Through March 14th, you can get a Flame Saber mount by playing 15 matches of Heroes of the Storm with a friend. So Dex and I, who have never done Heroes of the Storm, will actually...
It's a MOBA, right?
I believe so.
It's like Dota 2 and League of Legends.
I've never played it. I've heard people talk about it. There's a podcast called Core, which goes into it. We may have to listen to Core. Yeah, I'll have to go listen.
Anyway,
they were talking about it on Azeroth Roundtable this week as well. So
we'll
have to check it out and see if we can get those 15 matches done, so we can get our Flame Saber mount. That thing looks super cool.
Yeah. So it seems like going against the AI might be the way to go if you're inexperienced at MOBAs.
Like you and I, yeah.
Like you and I, yeah. Yeah, I'm saying Dota 2 and League of Legends like I know what the hell they're all about. I know the names of them, and I know they're MOBAs, and I know that it's like a top-down view thing where you run around on a map and people call you names for being lame at playing, and
that'd be
in
me.
A nutshell, I think. So,
yeah,
I would not be surprised if even the AI has a few choice things to say to you. That would not surprise me.
I'm waiting. We'll see what happens. Like I said, I've heard about it. World of Warcraft's my thing. I know it's another Blizzard game. I know it's popular, but I haven't tried it. I will try it.
I did that other game, the card game, the Hearthstone game, to get that.
I still haven't done that
to get that mount.
No, because mounts aren't my thing, and
yeah.
But you have to have a friend for this one, and the Flame Saber mount looks cool enough that I actually will probably do this.
Well, usually when it comes to things that you and I try to do, having a friend is the most difficult part.
Yeah.
So,
like the podcast.
Yeah. I don't work and play well with others. You may have noticed that.
You said something opposite. You were talking about me being the antisocial one earlier in the podcast. I think I remember that.
No, I'm pretty sure I didn't say that.
You'll edit it so you didn't say it. Just like your 31 gold token.
You and these obscure things that screenshotter didn't happen. That's all I have to say. We have the name of our podcast this week, Screenshot or It Didn't Happen.
Yeah, Screenshot or It Didn't Happen.
So,
Real ID, question mark.
Well, I was, as far as names for the podcast this week, I was toying around with, oh, no, you didn't, in reference to the Real ID, but I thought better of it. But anything else you want to cover in this rather sloppy mix of disjointed topics?
No, I think that's it. I'm going to test some other things out for making gold with Inscription this week. That's one of the things I'm really, really hammering on right now.
Yeah.
So, Lazy, thanks. I appreciate it. It wasn't something I had tested out. I was doing a lot more with my engineer.
Yeah.
But this is giving me another tune I can make some extra gold with, because gold making in this expansion is not quite as easy as it was during Draenor.
Well, gold making by way of alts,
right.
An alt army is not as easy. I wouldn't necessarily say it's not as easy, because there are some ways that are very lucrative.
Well, there's not as many just pop in, do a couple things, and pop out for the day. Takes a little more work to.
You can't just zone into your garrison and click a button to collect all your gold and then log back out. No, you can't do that.
Right.
But it's still there. I do want to apologize for this week's podcast is going to be on the shorter side than what we normally do, and not too bad, but a little bit shorter. We're kind of working with what we've got. Tonight, after we finish recording, I have to actually stay up tonight for a while, trying to edit as much as I can, because the wife and I are going away for the weekend, and I'm not going to be able to spend as much time during the day tomorrow editing as I normally have. So I'm kind of on a short window to edit, or else the podcast becomes really late. And not recording the podcast yesterday was actually not my fault this time.
That was my fault. I did not eat during the day, and as a diabetic, that's a no.
Yeah.
I was feeling a little
Yeah, so we decided to put it off, and I was not thinking at all about the short period of time that I would have to edit things. So
it's his fault. Yeah.
So there's plenty of blame to go along. There's the blame that Mac has in this, and then there's the blame that Mac has. So there's plenty of blame to go around. Excuse me.
You can edit that out. Yeah. Oh, I still blame you.
Well, I think this is going to about wrap up this week's show. I'd like to thank Schaefer Bates for his awesome work as the Goblin voice at the beginning of each show. Also, Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com for our theme music, Hot Rock, licensed under Creative Commons.
And if you want to get a hold of us, you can get in contact with us at Mac, that's MAC, at GoblinGoldcast.com, or Dex, that's DEX, at GoblinGoldcast.com. We have an alternate email, MacGoblinGoldcast at gmail.com. You can contact us on Twitter at Goblin Goldcast, or you can visit us on Facebook.
Don't forget to visit the swag store at cafepress.com/Goblin Goldcast, and you can leave us a voicemail on our website, GoblinGoldcast.com, and please subscribe to us on iTunes or Stitcher if you listen to us there.
And we'll see you next week.
Now go make some gold.
Let's play a game, all right? On the count of three, name your favorite dinosaur. Don't even think about it. Just name it. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Velociraptor.
Favorite non-pornographic magazine to masturbate to.
Good Housekeeping.
If you were a chick, who's the one guy you would sleep with?
John Stamos.
What? Did we just become best friends?
Yup!
You want to go do karate in the garage?
Yup!